very good evening and welcome to Primetime News here on TV1 News. Joining me, David Paldano. Now, before we head into your stories in more detail, let's first take a look at your headlines this evening. New laws to combat misinformation on social media. Justice Minister reveals plans. Government says Port City Bill does not harm the country. Opposition leader says bill leads to economic terrorism and separatism. State Minister Ajit Niwad Cabral confirms his son's employment in Port City since 2016.
Port City වැඩ කරුවට මොකද්ද තියෙන ප්‍රශ්නේ ඕගොල්ලන්ට 2016 ඉඳලා වැඩ කරනවා.
Protests continue against managed wild elephant reserve. Wild elephants encroach into towns of several areas.
Main sponsor.
Now taking a look at your headline making story. Justice Minister Ali Sabri has said that new laws will be brought forward to curb misinformation on social media platforms. Now he made these remarks during a media briefing at the Department of Government Information today.
They are
trying to make people fed up of the country by inculcating a feeling that life is hard and that the country is useless. We will not allow this to continue forever. We are holding discussions in the cabinet to bring forth several new laws in this regard. We are currently considering laws such as the Protection from Online Falsehood and Manipulation Act that has been implemented in several countries like Singapore, Malaysia and India. That means that a regiment plan must be made there to act against false information. For example, around 15 or 17% of social media accounts in Sri Lanka are fake ones. Therefore, no one can file cases against them even if they spread false information. There is a certain limit up to which this freedom can be exercised.
fake boru අවවාජ්‍ය. ඉතින් එතකොට ඕ මොන බොරු කිව්වත් උන්ට විරුද්ධව නඩු දාන්න හරි කාට හැකියාවක් නැහැ. ඔබගේ අත කැරකවීමේ ඇඟිලි කැරකවීමේ නිදහස ඊළඟ පුද්ගලයාගේ නහය ළඟින් නවතින්නට ඕන. නහයන් ඉන්න බෑ. එින්ද ඒ දෙකේ සීමාවක් තියෙන්න ඕනේ. භාෂණීය නිදහස සහ භාෂණීය නිදහස උපයෝගී කරගෙන
Therefore, there must be a certain limit for the freedom of speech. Freedom of speech must be exercised under restrictions concerning national security, reconciliation and development, refraining from destroying the name of the country before the international community and defaming individuals. Freedom of speech does not mean absolute freedom. We are currently in discussion stages to bring forward laws over this matter.
කරන්න පුළුවන් වල්බూరు නිදහසක් නැහැ. ඉතින් මේ දෙක සංකලනය කරලා අපි අලුතෙන් නීති ගැනීම සඳහා යම් සාකච්ඡා මට්ටමින් ඉන්නවයි කියන එක අපි කියන්නට ඕන. හරියට
Now the government itself can see that the support they had is fading away gradually. As a result of that, we can see that they have started suppression against the people. They have started scaring people and making people silent. Now the government has started to instill fear in people who post on social media and even the people who like those posts. They take them to the 4th floor of the Criminal Investigation Department and obtain statements. The government is also attempting to silence people who speak up for the public rights by resurfacing old court cases. 2 people who are working in the state sector have liked a Facebook post. They have been transferred with immediate effect. The government doesn't let people of this country express their views freely. Dilum Amunugama spoke about Adolf Hitler. We have suspicions whether this is the beginning of that journey. People who were involved in the carcinogenic coconut oil scam are roaming freely, but the people who spoke against those things are in remand custody.
නිදහසේ ඉන්නවා. නමුත් ඒවට විරුද්ධව කතා කරපු උදවිය අද රිමාන්ඩ් බන්ධනාගාරයේ.
Meanwhile, the government convened a media briefing today to clarify matters concerning the Colombo Port City Economic Commission bill that was tabled in Parliament recently.
හෙක්ටයාර 269න් හෙක්ටයාර 91
Out of 269 hectares, 91 hectares has been allocated for public infrastructure. Those lands cannot be given or sold. 116 hectares or 43% of the total land mass has been allocated to the project company. When excluding these land areas, 23% of the land belongs to the government, but the entire land belongs to the government. Therefore, it is a lie to say that a portion of the land has been given away to another entity. 43% of the land has been leased out for 99 years. If they are planning to lease that land, they must obtain the permission of the Urban Development Authority under the existing regulations. It is a blatant lie to say that it has slipped from our our ownership, they have created a false image. What is this? This is an occasion to celebrate. This is the country's turning point in development. If half of the land belongs to us, if we own the area, if our approval is needed to lease out the land, if it complies with the laws of the country and the constitution, and if disputes must be resolved in our courts, how can this area belong to someone else?
රටේ සාමාන්‍ය නීතිය නම් ක්‍රියාත්මක වෙන්නේ ව්‍යවස්ථාවට යටත් වුණා. රටේ තියෙන උසාවි වලට ගිහිල්ලා නම් ප්‍රශ්න විසඳ ගත යුත්තේ. කොහොමද වෙන කාගේ හරි මොනවා හරි එකක් වෙන්නේ?
මෙන්න ඔප්පුව. මේකෙම කියලා තියෙනවා.
This is the land deed. This says that the government can claim back the ownership of the land if the conditions in the agreement are violated. There is another important point here. The advice of the Attorney General has been sought regarding this matter. We have asked whether the bill is in line with the Sri Lankan Constitution. The Attorney General has informed the President's Secretary that no clause in the bill is violating Sri Lanka's constitution. How can this be considered as a Chinese colony? This commission has been appointed for 3 years. It is President Gotabaya Rajapaksa who has the power to appoint the commission. The opinion of the Chinese Prime Minister is not required. The act does not state that a Chinese national will be allowed to be part of the commission. There are 73 sections in the bill. None of these provisions allow the Chinese companies to demand for a seat in the commission. If these activities are being carried out by a commission that is not related to China in any way, that too if the members of the commission are internally recognized individuals, and if they are to be reappointed after considering their conduct within 3 years and the results, can anyone claim that this is part of China? They are trying to create an impression that China is controlling us, but in fact we are controlling China.
චීනයේ කොටසක් වෙනවා කියලා. චීනය අපිව පාලනය කරනවා කියලා පෙන්වන්න හදන්නේ. මේක වෙලා තියෙන්නේ අපි චීනාව පාලනය කරා.
මේ port city ව්‍යාපෘතියකට ගොඩ කරලා මේ
Was the port city built by reclaiming land to allow Maitripala, Ranil, Mahinda, Gotabaya, Ali Sabri, me or Jayanta to take part in exercises? Under the Urban Development Authority Act, there have been more powers than provincial councils. That is why certain lands are brought under the Urban Development Authority and are issued through the authority itself. We have an advantage in entering the competitive market now. While other countries continue to battle with the COVID-19 pandemic, we can enter the race for investments. We must make use of this opportunity. We must celebrate this.
අපිට පුළුවන් අර ආයෝජන තරංගයට ඇතුල් වෙන්න. අපි අවස්ථාවෙන් ප්‍රයෝජන ගන්නට ඕන. මේක අපි සමරන්න ඕන දෙයක්.
දැන් මේන් වරාය නග
We hope to receive investments running up to 15 billion once the port city has been constructed completely. That is 15 billion US dollars.
බිලියන 15ක් එකෙන් විතරක් එන්න. බිලියන 15ක් ඇමරිකන් ඩොලර්ස්.
සඳහා යාම වෙනුවට ඊට වඩා අඩු කාලීන
මේ අවුරුද්දට වඩා අඩු කරගන්න නම් හොඳ.
It would have been good if we could have leased it out for less than 99 years. But in a practical situation, the investors may argue that they require this time period to reap profits for the investments that they have made. The 99-year period was decided following discussions between both parties.
තම තර්ක කරලා එකඟ වෙච්ච තැනක් තමයි ඔය අවුරුදු 99.
Nowhere in this act has a provision been mentioned that the members of the commission should be a citizen of Sri Lanka. What is the guarantee that you all can give that no foreign nationals will be appointed to this commission?
As long as that commission, majority of the commissioners are where the decisions are being made. Sri Lankans, I have no problem. If somebody is a good person who could bring international investment, I don't mind even a foreigner sitting.
There are about 3 names that comes into my mind who were Sri Lankans who have gone abroad with all this knowledge, but they are no more Sri Lankan citizens. They are either American citizens, one I know is a British citizen. They are no more Sri Lankan citizens, but they have all these qualifications.
We know that we learned a lesson from the bond scam, right? We know how the appointment was made. So in the event of any irregularity, if a foreign national is serving on the commission, will the president bear the responsibility for that particular appointment?
Now you are only looking at that one person. There are so many people who have contributed to Sri Lanka in numerous ways.
So just a yes or no question, will the law be amended to
No,
make sure
right
that
now we have not
nationals
thought about that. Not at all.
So foreign nationals can be a part of the commission?
If you want, it can be. If the president wants, can be as at now. There is no prohibition as such.
Dr. Harsha De Silva explained the difference between the bill on the financial city project formulated by a committee in 2017 and the port city bill of the government today.
2019 කෙටුම්පතේ තියෙන්නේ මොකද්ද කියන්නේ මේකේ නීති හදන්න මේකේ
What he stated in the 2019 bill, Parliamentary approval is needed to formulate regulations and to amend them. But the current bill notes that the Gazette be tabled only for the knowledge of Parliament. The first bill put out by the government mentions the same point we brought forward in 2019. It officially states that individuals in the country who hold positions be appointed to the committee. They say that there must be 10 members in the committee, including the chairman. However, 7 members, including the chairman, must hold government positions. The difference in the bill presented today is that the president can appoint any 7 individuals to it based on his will, whether they are Sri Lankan citizens or relatives. Earlier, these regulatory regulations were required to be presented through the regulatory authority. Then they must get the parliamentary approval. However, today the president regulates that.
ඊට පස්සේ එව්වා පාර්ලිමේන්තුවේ අනුමැතියට ගේන්න ඕනේ. නමුත් අද මොකද කියන්නේ? ජනාධිපතිවරයාට පුළුවන් මේ නියාමනය කරන්න.
තන මේ චීන කොලනියක් ඇති වෙනවා කියන එක සම්පූර්ණයෙන්ම බොළඳ ප්‍රකාශයක්.
It is absurd to say that a Chinese colony is being established there. This is a project that has a national value to it. We are suspicious whether these attacks on the port city project are a part of operations carried out against China by the United States, India, Japan and Australia in this region. This plan was formulated by those who went to courts here. It was 3 gazettes that were established citing the need for new laws to the port city. It is humorous. That's why we believe this is a different project.
ඒ නිසා තමයි අපිට හිතෙන්නේ මේක වෙන ව්‍යාපෘතියක් කියලා.
Meanwhile, the leader of the opposition has reiterated that the government is attempting to divide the country economically through the Port City Bill.
Through the Port City program, the government is engaging in financial and economic terrorism as well as separatism. The government is dividing this country financially and geographically. This government is trying to enslave this nation through a new method of introducing a different legal system and regulations outside the country. Specifically, if the intention is to bring in new foreign investors, there are many ways of doing that. They sought the mandate of the people, putting forward the one country, one law concept. Now they have split the country as well as the law.
ජනවර්ම ඉල්ලුවේ එක රටක් එක නීතියක් කියලා. දැන් බලනකොට එක රටක් විතරක් නෙවෙයි රට දෙකඩ කරලා නීති පද්ධතියක් දෙකඩ කරලා
Meanwhile, members of the Mahasanga conducted religious observances at the residence of MP Vijayadasa Rajapaksa today.
ආණ්ඩුවෙන් කියන මේ ශ්‍රේෂ්ඨාධිකරණයේ තීරණ මත තමයි මේක සංශෝධනය වෙනවා වෙන්නේ කියලා.
ඒ බොරු ඒ නීතිය ගැන මුකුත් නොදන්න තොත්ත බබාලා කියන කතාවක්.
That is something that they are saying without a proper understanding. The Attorney General provides his opinion for all acts stating that it is in line with the Constitution. That is what we have taken up in court on previous occasions. The Attorney General said that the land bill falls in line with the Constitution. However, I argued in court stating that it is not the case. Therefore, the Supreme Court issued an order stating that the bill cannot be enacted. If that bill was implemented, it would have left millions of farmers on the streets. We stopped that with the intervention of the Supreme Court.
ඉතින් එදා ඒ නඩු කියලා තමයි ශ්‍රේෂ්ඨාධිකරණයේ පිහිටපතල තමයි අපි ඒක නතර කරේ.
ඊළඟ ඔබතුමා මේ කරන ප්‍රකාශයට එරෙහිව පක්ෂයෙන් මේ ක්‍රියාමාර්ග ගන්නවා කියලා ඉදිරියට ඔබතුමා කොහොමද?
ඒක පක්ෂයට තියෙන අයිතියක්. බලමු. රටේ නීතියකුත් තියෙනවනේ.
මේ වහාය නගරේ ඒ කියන්නේ චීන සංවර්ධන සමාගමට ආයත් ඒ කියන්නේ කිසිම භූමියක කොටසක් බදු දීලා නැහැ කියලා කියන්නේ.
බදු දීලා තාම නැහැනේ පනතෙන් පස්සේ විකුණන්න.
They haven't leased it. Once the bill is adopted, they can sell it. They have given the powers to sell it and have laid the regulations for that. They have exempted several acts from this as well. This allows the entire land area to be sold.
ඔක්කොම නගර පිටින් විකුණ ගන්න පුළුවන්.
100%ක්ම අයිති රජයට කියලා කියන්නේ 100%ක්.
එහෙනම් මොකටද විකුණන්න බලය දීලා පනත් ගන්නේ?
If that's the case, why would they bring laws to sell lands? It belongs to the government. The problem is that they are bringing laws to sell them. They declared a holiday on the 12th of this month, hoping to evade the courts over this matter.
තනන් නඩු නැතුව ගොඩ යන්න බලාගෙන.
Meanwhile, the Samagi Jana Balawege stated if the Sri Lanka Port City Economic Commission Bill is passed, the general law of the country will not be applicable within the port city. Although it is said that you have to work in unison with the authority in which regulatory powers are vested with, according to the provisions in the bill, the authority has no discretion to comply with that. If the Commission requests any agreement, the authority is responsible towards fulfilling that request. The rules and regulations in this bill are compiled by the President upon the requests of the Commission. We oppose the attempt of the government to control the port city under the authority of the Commission. We are against the manner in which this is taken out of the normal parliamentary procedure and how this has violated the sovereignty of the country.
Meanwhile, members of the Lawyers for Democracy movement expressed their views regarding the Colombo port city during a media briefing today.
මේ පනතේ සමස්තාර්ථය ඇතුලේ මේ ආර්ථික කොමිෂන් සභාවේ ක්‍රියාවලිය බජට්
Based on this bill, the activities of the Commission will not be brought under a budget. It cannot be summoned before the COPE. The Committee on Public Accounts also cannot take up matters concerning it. The Montevideo Convention that was adopted in Uruguay outlines 4 main prerequisites to qualify as a state. The first is population. The population in the area has already been identified. The second requirement is a territory. The entire land area spans 1,115 acres. The Commission has been given the powers to enter into foreign agreements concerning the state. That is why claims are being made stating that this is a Chinese colony. The Attorney General is only a counsel in this country. He is the legal advisor to the government. Now they are saying that the Attorney General has issued a letter over the port city and that anyone can challenge it in the Supreme Court. We have done that. The Supreme Court will only consider whether it contravenes the Constitution or not. But it is the government that must control the true geopolitical nature concerning the country. When a portion of our land is given to China, will India remain silent? Will the US remain silent? We don't see the government following a certain policy on foreign affairs.
තාම තනිකර ආණ්ඩුක්‍රම ව්‍යවස්ථාවේ ජනතාවගේ පරමාධිපත්‍ය අමුයේ උල්ලංඝනය කරලා තියෙනවා.
දැන් මේ පනත් කෙටුම්පතේ තියෙනවා යම් ආකාරයක
The bill states that if any disputes arise in the area, the parties concerned should agree on a consensus. This should be done before an international commercial dispute resolution unit. Even if a party concerned is not willing to agree on a consensus, they will be left with no alternative due to the agreement signed by them. Resolving disputes in this manner mandatorily undermines the country's judicial system. While there are 22 million people in the country, how can they provide benefits only for those in the 1,115-acre land area? Justice Minister Ali Sabri himself has said that there are more than 700,000 pending cases in lower courts. If there is a massive backlog of cases, then how can attention be paid to this?
මේ රටේ මිනිසුන්ගේ මූලික අයිතිවාසිකම් කඩ කරන කාරණයක් බවට පත් වෙනවා.
ශ්‍රේෂ්ඨාධිකරණයෙන් මේක ව්‍යවස්ථාවට අනුකූලද නැද්ද කියනවා පමණයි හොඳ නරක තීරණය.
The Supreme Court will only determine whether it is in line with the Constitution. We have appointed a government to decide whether it is good or bad. Port City or Elam both imply another state. We agree that foreign investments are required. There are 2 laws under which this can be done. One is the Strategic Developments Act and the Board of Investment Act. It is through these acts that the projects such as Shangri-La were given to China during the Rajapaksa rule. Ranil Wickremesinghe also gave the Hambantota port to China. Why did they bring such laws against such a backdrop? The answer is to create a new country. If we consider sections 3, 5 and 3(6) of this act, if we require to construct a house, the government regulatory authority can decide whether the land can be given or not. But this states that the land must be given if the commission asks for it. They campaign under the slogan of one country, one law. But now they are implementing 2 laws in one country.
ඒ මන්ත්‍රය වගේ මැතුරුවට ඇතුලේ තියෙන කෑලි ඔක්කොම වෙනස්. ආණ්ඩුව අපිව විශ්වාස කරවන්න හදන්නේ එතනට.
විවස්ථා දායකයට පාලනයක් නැත්තම්
If the legislature does not have control over this, and if they can deal directly with foreign nations, run a separate stock market, maintain separate foreign currency reserves and a judiciary, that is what we call as a separate state. You know that a massive discourse was created in the country over the creation of a ministerial portfolio and several other matters under the previous government. This bill covers all those matters.
ඒවා තමයි මේ පනත ඇතුලේ තියෙන්නේ ඒ කාරණා.
The Lawyers for Democracy movement pointed out that the passage of the bill will be a threat to national security.
ඉන්දියාව කොච්චර කැමති වෙයිද චීනයට?
How will India prefer to see China enjoying massive powers behind an entity that they control? These factors will threaten national security. The US and India are clashing with China. On the other hand, China is occupying land in our country. Ultimately, our country will be caught in a proxy warfare between these 3 countries.
බරපතල අවධානමක් තිබෙනවා.
ලංකාවේ TRC එක තියෙනවා. TRC එක හරහා
Sri Lanka has a telecommunications regulatory authority. Many entities are managed through the TRC. Otherwise, if any action is taken to surpass the TRC, then it is a massive threat to national security.
The people must be kept informed to decide whether it is beneficial or not. The politicians meet each other in parliament. They will vote in favour when it is taken up. We saw that this happened when the 20th Amendment was put forward as well. Meanwhile, parliamentarian S.M. Marikkar has said that the newly formulated laws pave the way for money laundering in the country.
This is how money laundering involving their henchmen took place in the country, while the country, the nation, the land and even the people were given to China. There is a designation called Property Assistant Manager. Who is in that position? It is the son of Ajit Niwad Cabral. So Ajit Niwad Cabral's son was a director of various companies. Then there is a person bearing the post of a property manager named Shalika Vijayarath. When I looked at his Facebook page, I wonder, who is he? Where do they come from? What is their background? What expertise do these people have? The government gets only 1% of these transactions. Therefore, we are not against building a financial city like Dubai or Singapore, but we oppose the creation of a Chinese colony that is laundering the black money of its cronies under the guise of this financial city. We are against betraying this country to the Chinese. They are not accountable to the law of this country. Neither are they accountable to the judiciary of this country.
Meanwhile, State Minister Ajit Niwad Cabral today accepted that his son has been employed at the port city since 2016. The State Minister made this statement when he met with the chief incumbents of the Malwatu and Askeri chapter to make clarifications about the Port City Economic Commission Bill. When you engage in politics, you must make sure not to engage in such low-class politics. The children of the president are being reprimanded. Basil Rajapaksa's children are being reprimanded. Various things are being said about my children too. Do you remember once they said that my daughter came back from England? So please bear with me while I explain. You shouldn't engage in such low-class politics. My son is well educated and has degrees from foreign universities. He can work anywhere, so he has a good job. What is the problem you have? Even if he works at the port city, he's been working there since 2016.
Port city එක වැඩ කරුවට මොකද්ද තියෙන ප්‍රශ්නේ ඕගොල්ලන්ට 2016 ඉඳලා වැඩ කරනවා. එතකොට ඔබතුමාගේ දරුවා වෙනුවෙන් පෙන්නේ සිටිනවා. මම දරුවන් 80.
I am representing the interests of 83,000 children. You need to understand that. You must stop engaging in this low-class politics. Our children have the right to work wherever they want. The people know about it. My children don't work in secret. They never have. I don't answer each and every call given to me by your institution, but I respond to everyone. I have never stayed hidden. Can you publish a story about the Greek bonds tomorrow on your channel? Can you read out the Supreme Court judgment on the Greek bonds that was delivered on the 18th of September 2014 on your channel?
සැප්තැම්බර් මාසේ 18 දී ශ්‍රේෂ්ඨාධිකරණයෙන් දුන්න තීන්දුව ඔබතුමාලා කියවන්න ඔබතුමාලාගේ channel එකේ. කරනවද ඒක? කියන්න කරනවා කියලා. කියන්න. ඒක දාන්න. හරි? ඔන්න මම උත්තර දුන්න ඔක්කොමට ඕගොල්ලෝ ඒක අරගෙන හොඳට පබ්ලිෂ් කරන්න. අනිත් අය channel එක හරි කරන්නකෝ. මේක දාන්න මම මේක කිව්වයි කියලා. හොඳයි? Thank you.
Details came to light on the 11th of April that Imad Zubairi had served as a CIA mole for a decade. The central bank had paid $6.5 million to Imad Zubairi between 2013 and 2014 to uplift Sri Lanka's image in the United States. US Department of Justice reveals that the payments had been made without the approval of Sri Lanka's parliament or cabinet. Imad Zubairi sentenced to 12 years in prison. It was Ajit Niwad Cabral who served as the central bank governor during that time frame. Shouldn't an investigation be carried out against him? Ajit Niwad Cabral was the brother of Shiromi Noel Wickramasinghe, who was linked to Perpetual Treasuries Limited that has been suspended since its involvement in the central bank bond scam. Shouldn't action be taken against such individuals over their dealings that have been uncovered through a forensic audit? What is the progress of the investigation into those who line their pockets by causing losses to the country through the hedging deal? You can fool all the people some of the time, and some of the people all the time, but you cannot fool all the people all the time.
අප්‍රේල් මාසයේ අවසන් සතිය වෙද්දී බහුල වශයෙන් කොවිඩ් ව්‍යාප්තියක් වෙන්න පුළුවන් කියලා දේශපාලන නායකයන්ගේ පැත්තෙන් අනතුරු ඇඟවීම් කරන්න පටන් ගන්න තියෙනවා. ඒ විතර
Warnings are being issued by political leaders citing that a large-scale COVID-19 spread could happen by the last week of April. Moreover, the general public did not follow health guidelines during the Sinhala and Tamil New Year. Large congestions were seen in main cities. No steps were taken by the government, the health authorities or political leaders to mitigate this. After allowing it to take place, they are saying that a third COVID wave could emerge at the end of April. We cannot detect a third wave right now since random tests are not being carried out. A large amount of COVID-19 patients are detected in the areas where random PCR tests were carried out. If random tests were carried out everywhere, the existence of a third COVID wave can be proven. There is a serious concern about whether the government is doing it for a political motive. There are many restraints against the government and its activities right now, including the Port City Commission Act. COVID-19 is brought back to the public discourse to prevent the backlash that is to be emerged against it. We are suspicious as to whether COVID regulations will be introduced to curb this public backlash. We are suspicious whether the ones who protest against it will be quarantined for 14 days instead of being remanded.
ජනතාව මේ වටේ රෙහිව නැගී සිටිනකොට ඒවා වැළැක්වීම සඳහා කොවිඩ් රෙගුලාසි පාවිච්චි කරන්න දෙන්නේ සෞඛ්‍ය රෙගුලාසි පාවිච්චි කරන්න දෙන්නේ කියන පැහැදිලි සැකය තියෙනවා.
One mission, one channel, and one more thing. 1 million subscribers on YouTube.
Main sponsor.
Cargios Online, delivering groceries on time, always.
While it has been 92 days for the Satyagraha launched by the farmers of Valsapagala, many other Satyagraha campaigns launched by farmers in the country are still ongoing. This is the voice of the people.
Although the elephant management reserve in Hambantota was gazetted, the regulations for the zone were not published. The farmers in Valsapagala are demanding for these regulations to be published and also citing issues in the area included in the gazette. Wild elephants yesterday damaged a number of farmlands in Ranamairapura. This is how the flow of traffic was interrupted after wild elephants entered the Hambantota town.
The voice of the people.
Today is the 33rd day of the Satyagraha launched by the farmers of Mahasanga in support of the farmers of Valsapagala. Reports also came in of a wild elephant roaming in Veragantota, Minipe in Mahasanga. According to our correspondent, the elephant had chased behind a person who attempted to take a picture of the wild animal. This is how a herd of elephants who encroached into the holy city of Mahasanga last night made their way towards the Mahaveli river this morning.
The voice of the people.
Farmers in Galgamu are also engaging in a Satyagraha over the wild elephant conflict. Today is the 34th day of their Satyagraha.
The voice of the people.
Today is the 31st day of the Satyagraha launched by farmers in Madavachya in support of the farmers in Valsapagala. General Secretary of the Sinhala Rave organization, Venerable Magal Kande Sudatta Thera, joined the Satyagraha today. The Cabinet Minister of Wildlife is C.B. Ratnayaka and he only has the Timber Corporation under his purview. We have a Minister of Environment and he only has the power or the Central Environmental Authority. A state minister has been appointed to build certain barriers, but he does not have the power to discuss those at the cabinet meeting. There is a huge issue in the manner in which the subjects have been assigned.
Hello.
Hello, love. Just to let you know, my parents are coming home tonight.
But we still have to go grocery shopping.
I might get a little late. Do you think you can do it?
Fine, I'll do it.
Please don't forget, okay?
I have to go now, I'm in a meeting.
Meeting.
Cargios Online, delivering groceries on time, always.
One mission, one channel, and one more thing. 1 million subscribers on YouTube.
Now on to international news. China and the United States say that they are committed to working together and with other countries on tackling climate change. It comes after several meetings between the Chinese climate envoy and his US counterpart in Shanghai last week. A joint statement today confirmed they both agreed on further specific actions to reduce emissions. US President Joe Biden is holding a virtual climate summit this week, which China says it is looking forward to. However, it is not yet known if Chinese President Xi Jinping will join the world leaders who have pledged to attend. Both nations also agreed to help developing countries finance a switch to low-carbon energy. And with that, we wrap up primetime news here on TV1. For more news, log on to our award-winning website, that is www.newsfirst.lk. For the Newsfirst team, I'm Devi Paldano and our sign interpreter for tonight, Brian De Cruz. Take care and good night.